Hello gamers, and welcome back to another episode of our F1 2020 Driver Career Mode, episode number 16 today for the Hungarian Grand Prix. If you missed our previous video at the British Grand Prix, go and check that one out. A pretty good recovery drive from us. I mean, we started well. Middle of the race was very sketchy, but we managed to get a podium and make good on our new contract with Alfa Romeo. But not as good a recovery drive as Lewis Hamilton. But anyway, as you can see on the screen, we're going to risk a penalty because our engine store is getting ridiculously critical in terms of wear. And because we only get 2 of these components and we need 1 for practice, we're just going to risk the penalty and get a part. And as you can see, because I'm so traumatized by reliability, we're going to invest in a major durability upgrade. And as we advance towards the weekend, our front major downforce upgrade from a few episodes ago is successful, which is critical because downforce is very important on a track like the Hungaroring. But anyway, advancing towards the weekend, and here we are into the race weekend, and we get to purchase a new gearbox for because we completed 6 races of our current spec, and there's no rain. So for the second race in a row, no rain's going to affect us, and it looks like we could use some rain. So starting at the top of the table, Carlos Sainz up in P3, and Alex Albon's actually up in P8, Grosjean's up in P6 and a Haas. So some we could see some craziness despite the fact that the dry, it's going to be dry all weekend. But as we go through the standings, Gio outqualifies us or outplaces us. That's uncommon. So suddenly I'm really hoping that this isn't representative for our race result. Bottas splits the 2 of us though, so compared to Hamilton, his pace is shocking, but sometimes can be very accurate. And to show how inaccurate it is, Stroll is with us. We've beat Stroll, and Latifi's leagues ahead of his teammate, which is crazy. But anyway, into practice 2, and I don't usually show practice, but I'll show you. I just wanted to show you guys that the I believe it was the turbocharger. It's at 92%. I'll fix it in editing if it's not. And there was smoke coming out the back of that car, which shows again just how much reliability is still important. That being said, it's a practice engine, so we don't need to fret too much about it. But look at the practice 2 results, and it's a little more calm, let's say, a little more natural, except besides the fact that Max Verstappen is down at P10. But that doesn't say much, as his teammate Kimi Räikkönen is just a place above us. But we're still ahead of Gio. And at the end of practice 3, doing some quali runs and race trim, we topped the standings, which again is very typical, but again, we just don't know what could happen in qualifying. And keep in mind, we do have a 10-place grid penalty because we replaced that component. We fabricated an extra engine component, which can throw a race into a flux, and Gio's in P20. Wow. And here we are into qualifying. And, well, I mean, it's been working out for us for the last few races. So we're doing another custom setup. And once again, feel free to pause at any moment during the video if you want to jot this setup down for yourself if you play on controller. And of course, I'll leave a link to the video in which I found this setup in the description down below. But anyway, here we are heading through turn 4, into turn 5. We go very wide out of turn 4, which, I mean, thankfully no track limits were being observed there, I guess. But across the line in P2 for us. So that pace from practice 3 is still representative in this race, but we dropped down to P6. But thankfully at that moment, well, Ricardo takes P6 from us, but as we look at the sector times through this little great addition, it's slower than ours. And then towards the end of the session, the highest placed person heading out is Albon in P12, so P7, because Ricardo beat us. But ultimately, that's fine, because he didn't have to go out again. And it's a Botham Ver top 3, well, P7. Raikkonen's way off the pace compared to his teammate. No surprise there. Both Haas's made it through, which is crazy to think of. And Albon actually drops from P12 down to P15. And Gio gets out qualified again and misses Q2, sorry, God. Don't get ahead of yourself. Anyway, here we are heading out of our final corner, P4 of turn 14, and not a great exit. That was our outlap though, so thankfully. But we head wide through turn 4 again, which doesn't really suit us well. And again, this is our normal laps. I'm not like the Monaco TV direction. case in point, and we crossed the line, P3, but we dropped down to P4 immediately, and we're down in P8. So we could get eliminated, and because of their grid penalty, we're going to end up further down than where we would have placed on the roads. We have to go it again, and of course this is my fastest lap, so we'll lead you through. Heading into the heavy braking zone of turn 1. Very good overtake opportunity, especially with the DRS. Here we are, heading towards turn 2, a slow corner where we don't want to mount that curb, because that's one of the many curbs in F1 2020 that could just unsettle the car immediately, even if a tire touches it. But heading through turn 3, through turn 4, this time we kind of cut the curb a bit, but it's kind of allowed there. Heading to turn 5, and this definitely is a curb you don't want to touch on the inside. Heading on to turn 5, into the chicane of turns 6 and 7. Being careful again, the Hungaroring has high curbs, so you want to limit the amount of curb that you take around this circuit, because it could really unsettle the car. Heading through the high speed turn 8, 9, this is 10, heading to braking zone at turn 11, heading toward turn 12, a very heavy braking zone. Actually, I think I got that all wrong. That's turn 12. This is turn 13. Again, you can see, didn't study the track map again. But hey, what else is new? Now heading towards turn 14. Here we go, a little slow, hug the barrier, make sure we don't run into the Armco. And here we go, open the DRS, down the main straight, and across the line in P5. So pretty decent time from us, and we stay in P5, and we're into Q3, which is really good for us, considering that if we had finished anywhere lower than 10th, with the 10 place grid penalty, we would be all the way down in P20, and all the work we put in would have been void. And Kimi Räikkönen's in P10, so he almost got eliminated from Q2. Huh. That's embarrassing. But anyway, here we are, heading out of our first lap of Q3. We're up at the P2, which should be a decent result, but remember, again, we'll be in P12 if we don't secure at least pole position. So we go it again. We're down in P6, and on our second flying lap, we're looking good with the second time, but Verstappen is ahead of us, and we're stuck in this dirty air, and we're just losing time. You can see as we unsettle the car through turn 13, and we just lose all the good time that we made up. So we have to go out again. But this time, as you can see, Bottas just pops out beside us. And, well, yeah, it just gives me a bit of a scare. Yeah, I was trying really hard to go by Verstappen, and of course, I screwed it up. Okay, no, sorry, it was Hamilton that popped up beside me, I believe. But yeah, we don't improve on our time. Actually, we lose a place, and we're P7 after Q1. Q3, God, where's my head today? God, I wish I could speak. But P7 is not what we don't get P7, because with the 10 place grid penalty, we're going to drop down to P17. So while overtaking is hard around the Hungaroring, it's not impossible. So we're going to have to pull off another great recovery drive if we are going to have any chance of getting points in this race. So it's a race of damage limitation.
So, unfortunately, we've picked up some grid penalties, and we'll be starting further back than you expect. As for how bad it is, that'll depend on what the other drivers get.
It's race day in Budapest as we get ready for another round of the Formula One World Championship. We don't expect too many retirements at this track. There are plenty of current and former drivers with flawless finish rates here. In particular, Ralf Schumacher. He made it across the line in all 10 of his Hungarian Grand Prix starts. 14 corners then for our drivers to navigate at the 2.7-mile Hungaroring today. It's 6 lefts and 8 rights around a lap here, with average speeds in the region of 120 miles per hour. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Let's start with Alfa Romeo. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The fence starts from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Sergio Perez, and Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Sainz, Ocon, and Lance Stroll, Verstappen, Albon, Roman Grosjean and Magnussen, Giovinazzi, Gasly, Skip, and Daniel Kvyat. Russell and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
I mean, that's the goal as always, Jeff, but we don't know. Anyway, into the tire strategy, and we're just going to go for the fastest one. We're not going to go long. We're not going to try to perfect the overcut. We're just going to go fast and aggressive. We're going to go on a 2-stop. The tire wear is very high around the Hungaroring, so it will be a set of softs to 2 sets of mediums afterward. But here we go. Our work's cut out for us. Here we go to 5 red lights to the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go. And it's a great start for us. We launch past our teammate up the middle. We've made up 2 places already, 3 now. And there's a group of cars alongside. They head 3 wide into turn 1. We dive down the outside. We're up to P10 already. We're alongside Ocon. Ocon beats us and squeezes us out, and we're just on the side, and we're already in the points. So this is the start we're looking for. And Stroll just pulls up alongside us, trying to go around us in the outside of turn 2, but we squeeze the door into turn 3. Ocon brake checks us, and we just slide into position to turn into P10. Great start from us. Amazing start on the replay. As you can see, we just go up the middle. There's a swath in the middle, and it's only then that cars start realizing that they needed to start defending that, unless I'm just going to go up the middle of 2 cars. But we dive down the outside. We pass by Max Verstappen, who we got kind of screwed over this race because of a penalty, as you noticed on when the grid was lining up. But as you dive into turn 2, you can see Stroll is getting a little feisty around the outside, but thankfully we're able to squeeze him out and heading to turn 3. So we're just siding in. But now we're seeing we can make a move on Ocon, heading on to lap 3 now. DRS is enabled, but unfortunately not on this straight. But we don't need it. Rich and overtake dive down the inside of turn 1, and we make the move stick, and it's a superb dive bomb from us to secure P9. So this recovery drive, right off the bat, is looking amazing, and we're not even looking at scrapping some points. We're looking at getting a good bunch of points, actually. As you can see from Ocon's T-Cam, that was just textbook dive bomb, calm and smooth. But now we're trying to catch up to Carlos Sainz, but already the tire wear is already accumulating throughout just 4 laps on the softs, and as already our pit window's open. So we're going to have to get ready to pit for a set of medium compound tires. And again, we're going to see just how much we got to do. We got to make up places, but people will be pitting. So we'll probably be the first one to bite. DRS, rich mix, and overtake. But as we head down, there's yellow flags ahead of us. Raikkonen's ahead of us. Is it right? No! You got to be kidding me. No. Oh my god, Sainz almost ran into Ricciardo with smoke pouring out of his engine for the 2nd race in a row. So Ricciardo, in just 2 races, has had 2 major engine failures. But how has that happened? He would have gotten a new engine after the British Grand Prix. Yeah, not a happy honey badger right now, and as you can see, he still took the apex, which is weird, and Carlos Sainz almost ran right into him. A humongously dangerous play.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, I share Carlos's anger, I guess you can say. Anyway, but the Spaniards in the pits ahead of us, so we're both pitting at the same time. So we're definitely on the same strategy. I mean, it's kind of obvious. He was up in the top 10. But anyway, heading into the pits, we're going to change to a set of medium compound tires, and a lot of drivers actually are pitting right now. I think the Mercedes was doing double stack, which is really risky to do, considering that. Well, I mean, there's no safety. Oh no, actually, there's a safety car for. Yeah, I mean, I just said Ricciardo. Oh. Can you tell that I recorded all this footage way long before I did this recording? Yeah, pretty obvious. Anyway, here we are, safety car, and we're right behind Sainz, up in P15. So we're pretty much back where we started, but now we got fresh tires, and the field's all bunched up again. And if we do the same work that we did at the start of the race, then we're still looking at a good result. But we can't get jumped by the safety car restart again. We get jumped by the safety car restart again. God, I need to start working on those. And Vettel in the Ferrari is catching us at a rate of knots. He's going on the inside. We defend the outside into turn 1. We're going to try to squeeze him out. Vettel's alongside us. We're side by side through turn 1, still side by side, heading down through the kink of heading towards turn 2. And as you can see, it's going to be who's the last of the late breakers, and that's us. We go wide, and Vettel's poking his nose on the inside, but we managed to squeeze him out. But he's still right up our gearbox. It's going to be a fight, I think, for the rest of the race. But because we got caught out, on the safety car restart, Vettel is just swarming us like an angry bee, and because of that, we're feeling the pressure. We go wide through turn 4 again, and we don't want to make that mistake around turn 5, so we stay clear of the curb. But my God, as you can see on this replay, look at Vettel. Like, he was ready while we weren't. And actually, there's a Mercedes behind him. Is that Bottas? I think that might be Bottas. Anyway, the fight between me and Vettel, side by side, like this, great racing from the two of us. Like, you can't fault us. And there, as you can see, last of the late breakers, we do go slightly wide, which leaves room for Vettel to still be in position. And it's already lap 9. So the pressure is already there. So we need to start putting cars between us and Vettel. We dive down the inside of Carlos Sainz, and we ride the curb. But we're still side by side. There's going to be another fight into turn 2. Again, similar to Vettel, except we've switched positions this time. We're on the outside. We're going to dive into turn 2. We go very, very wide. We manage to keep hold of the traction, of the grip, and we slice right in front of Sainz, and we take P14 on the road. But now Carlos is coming around on the outside around turn 4. He's trying to squeeze out, but we squeeze him out on the outside, and we inherit the place. And Vettel is now all over Sainz. So now Sainz has to deal with the problem that we've been dealing with over the last few laps. This is a great scenario. Look at this replay. Like, I don't usually show replays of every overtake I do, especially if it's a similar one. Like this is very similar to the one I did on Ocon, but because Sainz put up such a good fight, and as you can see, we go very wide into turn 2 because we carry a lot of speed. We tried to really be the last of the late breakers, and things just worked out for us. From Sainz's perspective, as you can see, the fight back, getting into the slipstream again, heading up the hill into turn 4. He takes the turn, we do squeeze him out, but I mean, that's just racing and no contact either. So I think honestly he would have done the same if he was in my position. But anyway, heading onto lap 10, the DRS is now enabled, and we're stuck behind. Whoa, look who it is! It's Kimi Räikkönen. He dived down the inside. He wasn't ready for that, was he? And we just turn on the ERS and the rich mix again, just to secure the position, and now it's just textbook. But up ahead, there's a fight between Hamilton and Perez as they head into turn 1. And look at that, they're fighting the two Williams. So we're going to see if we can get in on this party, because those two Williams, which look as though they haven't pit yet, are looking to hold the two fast cars of the Mercedes and the Racing Point, which is basically a Mercedes as well. Yeah, I'll throw on the shade. But as you can see, the fight with Hamilton and Russell leaves them vulnerable. We just slice through on the inside, heading into, I believe that was turn 3. So the fighting is playing into our advantage, holding up the slower cars, and when the fighting is getting in the way, we're just free to take a position. Look at that, it's 3 wide heading into turn 1 between Latifi, Perez, and Hamilton. And I'm so concentrated on that. What's that music? Oh my god, no.
Mind that front wing. It'll need replacing if it takes too much damage.
I am depressed. After all that work, that great recovery, we just bottle it like that. But how did that happen? Again, like I said previously in the commentary, I was distracted by the fight ahead of me. And as we pause right here, you can see what happens. I'm turning the wheel in very hard to the right to hit the apex, but I'm so concentrated on the fight ahead that I take too much of that curb. And remember, like I said, the curbs around Hungary are very high. And combined with the speed and probably putting the power down too early, I just unsettle the rear end that just takes me right into barriers, and I'm not able to overcorrect it fast enough. And at that point, I'm just a passenger. God, and as you can see, the front left end plate comes off. And around a circuit like Hungary, where you need downforce, we have no option. We have to pit for a new front wing. And we're going to pit onto a set of probably hard compound tires to last us to the end of the race. But as you can see, look, the gap between us and Gasly ahead of us is just increasing because of this pit stop, and because it's going to be a slow one because you got to replace the front wing. It's already up to, I think, it was around 11 seconds when we entered, and by the time we leave, it's probably going to be around like 20 something.
Release.
Yeah, it's about, oh god, it's like 29 seconds, almost 30 seconds up on the road. But thankfully, with the fresh tires and of a new front wing, we're going to be able to go pedal to the metal and make up all the time that we've lost. And there, as you can see, onto lap 14 as we head through the laps. And we're setting good sector times now as we head into lap 14. Green first sector, which is good. And as green second sector, and as we cross the line, we set the fastest lap of a purple sector. So with these hard compound tires, we should be able to catch up the gap. And as you see, Bottas is ahead of us now, because drivers are starting to get off those medium compound tires, I believe. Unless he was running the softs. Anyway, the good thing is, with more people who pit, they'll be brought closer, and then we can maybe start to think of moves. As you can see, George Russell ahead of us, who has pit for the hard compound. So these are all the alternate strategy runners right now. And ooh, as you can see, Latifi coming out of the pit lane gets blocked off by Russell on the apex of turn 1, and he's slowed down. He's slowed by his teammate, which leaves him in prime position for us to go sweep around the outside of turn 2. A stupendous move from us. We bang tire walls of our fellow Canadian, but we inherit P18. So that's one overtake down. Look at this replay. This is an amazing move, but again, is on an inferior car like the Williams, while the Alfa Romeo isn't much better. It's still pretty good. And as you can see from the T-cam of Nicholas Latifi, like, all credit to him, he did an amazing take of that corner. And we did respect each other, aside from that little tire bang right there, but I mean, you can't fault us. That's just racing, like I've been saying all along. Heading into turn 5 now, we're stuck in the slipstream of George Russell, but Latifi is holding the pressure, and I get distracted, and I take out one of the styrofoam leaderboards. Not exactly my proudest race, I will say that. Looks like all this bad form we got from Britain is being carried over to Hungary, but let's see if we can make a move on his teammate George Russell. DRS, rich mix and overtake on. We dive on the inside of turn 1. We go way too wide, and Russell just takes us the corner as though we weren't there, and retakes the place. So unfortunately, we've got to wait until the next lap, heading into lap 20 now of 35, to see if we can make that move stick again. But this time we're closer to Russell, so we can hopefully make it stick. Diving down the inside, this time braking a little earlier, a little more control, take the apex, and there you go. And we get the DRS. So just add insult to injury to George Russell. We inherit the place, and now people are starting to pit. So we'll see how many places we can inherit. Just like in Britain, after those 2 mistakes, we were able to get up the P8 from practically P19, I believe. So that's really good. And we passed Sainz heading out of the pits. So we're up at the P15, back where we were at the safety car restart. But with about 10 or so laps left, a little more than 10 actually, we have a lot to deal with right now. And we're going to have to put on some great moves if we have any chances of doing overtakes. But as you can see, we're just setting up red sectors. We're not catching up to Sebastian Vettel ahead of us, who's on the medium compound, keep in mind. But so that we have to wait until lap 27, and look at this train of cars ahead of us. So I think actually the points, if we pass all these cars ahead of us, we're in the points. So now the pedal to the metal, we've got to do this. We go very aggressively into turn 2, right up the backside of Sebastian Vettel. Thankfully no contact, but as you can see, I'm starting to get a little aggressive and very sloppy in my driving. But Sainz is all up our backside. Those medium compound tires, I'm getting Baku flashbacks when he, with the soft compound tires, was able just to blitz past us on the harder with us on the harder compound. So we've got to get this. So reverse of what happened prior, we've got to get past Vettel to avoid the charging Sainz. But here we are, and heading into the chicane of turns 6 and 7. We ride way too much curve into turn 6, which allows Sainz, who took the corner naturally, to catch up to us. So we've got to make this move stick. DRS, rich mix, and overtake. Heading down the straight, we're depleting a lot of ERS to catch up to Sebastian Vettel. We're going to go for the big boy dive bomb, put our big boy pants on. Vettel gives us contact. We lose the car a little bit, and that just allows Sainz to stick his nose in, and with DRS, just pass by us with ease. So unfortunately, we've lost place, and Sainz locks up really badly into turn 2. So there's no real overtake spot for us because we had to be careful there. Now let's look at Sainz's T-cam. As you can see, yeah, Vettel just taps us on the side as we go up the inside. To be fair, it was a very aggressive move on our part, and we probably shouldn't have taken it. So yeah, we just put ourselves in that position. So now we've got to overtake 2 cars.
You've lost some time to the car behind.
And with only 5 laps left, this is going to be very hard. We dive on the inside of Sainz. It doesn't matter at this point. This point is just for pride. I don't think we're going to get into the points in 5 laps. But anything is possible if you put our mind to it. But look at that charging Red Bull of Max Verstappen, who managed to pass Sainz. And as you remember from the grid, Verstappen got an engine penalty, so as well. So he was further down the grid. But with that car, he was showing amazing pace all weekend. So he's going to be a new threat. Probably worse than Sainz and Vettel combined. Since, I mean, that car is just amazing compared to us. But as we go, we dive on the inside of Sebastian Vettel. And Vettel's still side by side. The battles he's been having with this Ferrari man has been exceptional. And honestly, his seat is a potential option for next season. And we make a statement by passing it. But heading to turn 4, Vettel pops in alongside us, and we just have to squeeze him out at the exit of turn 4 to ensure the place. Heading through into turn 10, I believe. Vettel hits us, and he goes off the track. What was Vettel doing? I mean, honestly, I could have been part of that. But as we look at the replay, I take the corner naturally, and Vettel just collides to the side of us, which causes him to lose the car. What was Vettel doing? This was like a classic Vettel stupidity moment, like when he went into the back of Esteban Ocon. But the fact he kept the car running with no real observable damage means that that's a miracle, actually, with the contact he made at the wall. But we lose the back end out of the chicane, and Verstappen takes P13 from us. And that was the race. A terrible race from us, full of mistakes. Lewis Hamilton ends up winning it, which is a shock to say, but look ahead. Ocon got on the podium, the man who we had our first on-track battle with. So that means we were on pace for a podium as well.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yes! Ah, thank you. Merci beaucoup à tout le monde. Merci pour votre soutien.
And to add insult to injury, Gio gets P5 on the road, so he gets his first points of the season, a great points haul. It's something we usually do for the team.
Yes, guys! Yes! Well done, Antonio. Well done. Excellent race.
Yep, Jeff won't be saying that to us as we round the corner and we're not able to catch up to Verstappen, and we take P14. One of the many races to forget.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
It's a performance to be proud of today from our Hungarian Grand Prix winners. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
So all in all, I'm very conflicted. This was clearly a race to forget. Clearly a race to forget on our end, finishing in P14 out of the points when Giovinazzi, our teammate, pulls an Uno reverse card and trounces us to take P5. But I'm so conflicted because as a whole, the race was amazing. Look at that podium. When are you going to see a podium with Hamilton? I mean, you're going to see Hamilton on the top step a lot, Frank. Great if you're a F1 fan for a long time. But Leclerc P2 and Ocon P3 after his teammate DNF'd. When are you going to see that? Like, that's an amazing podium right there. I should be happy. And Lance Stroll in P4 embarrassing his teammate as well. And Kevin Magnussen, the Haas, in P10. Actually, both Haas's in the points. So I should be happy. But P14 is a terrible result for us, showing that on the high downforce circuits like Monaco and Hungary, our weaknesses are really showing. We're making terrible mistakes. I mean, very, very critical, granted, like all the other results we've had should trump this. But we're still P4 in the championship with a no point, with our second no points race, which is an accomplishment in of itself at Alfa Romeo, let's be frank. But Giovinazzi moves up quite a lot of places because he's got 10 points now. And now he's contributed to our points tally. And Leclerc completely blank sweeps us in a rivalry. But that's just one race, and we've got Belgium, a track that is very different to Hungary, to look forward to next time, and I hope you'll join us then. Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, share the video, share the love, and hopefully pray for a better race in the future. I'm Isolation Gamer 05. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there, stay positive, and until next time, peace out.